What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning over there, guys. How are we doing?
Good morning. Old baby bird was on that thing last night. Old baby bird.
So he's a career 33% three-point shooter. He is the worst high-volume three-point shooter in basketball, and he finally had a rare hot night. He made 6. If he makes 6 a game from here on, he will win the Western Conference by himself.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Why he always cooking the Clippers then if he's so bad?
He hates the Clippers because the Clippers don't like him either.
Okay, I'm going to let you guys have fun with that later. We do have to begin with something a bit more serious off the top of the show, and that is the allegations against Deshaun Watson. And really, on Tuesday, of improper conduct during massages that he received appear to just be the start of further legal issues for him. After a Houston-based attorney shared on social media that he was filing the second of 4 cases on behalf of women against Watson, he later said he had filed the third of now 6 cases against the quarterback. Watson issued a statement Tuesday night denying the allegations. So, Shannon, I want to start with you. What is your reaction to the latest news here with Deshaun Watson?
Well, Skip, I mean, I've read 2. And it seems to me, so now we have a better understanding of what these women are alleging. Now, if this is true that the attorney says there are 4 more claims that are coming out, this is some damning evidence against Deshaun Watson. Now, Rusty Harden, Skip, you know who Rusty Harden is. I know who he is. Yeah. He's as high profile as you get in the state of Texas and the city of Houston. He's handled some big high profile cases from ExxonMobil to Arthur Anderson. Most people remember him from handling the Roger Clemens situation. Yep. But he handled Warren Moon and Steve Francis and Rudy Tomjanovich.
Adrian Peterson situation.
Adrian Peterson, yes. So he's as good as it gets in dealing with these situations. Skip, now we know what the lawsuit is, what they're alleging. So now we can kind of formulate what we think has happened. And in a situation like this, Skip, credibility is going to be very, very key for this situation. And these women allegations are to be taken serious. So I don't want to slight them or make light of any situation. But having someone, and Skip, I don't know how often you get massages, but I've gotten massages basically twice a week for the last 30 plus years. And the last 20 plus years, since 1999, Des has been my massage therapist. She's a female. And when I encountered her, Skip, what they normally tell you to do, Skip, is that you get undressed to the level of your comfort. If you want to have on shorts, keep your shorts on. You want to have on boxers, keep your boxers on. But if you want to, get undressed, they say, okay, get undressed, get up under, both sheets. And normally before going into, certain areas, your groin, your hip flexor, things of that nature, it's like, okay, I'm about to touch here. Is this okay? Skip, for me, I go in and I tell them, okay, I'm hurting in this. Can you spend a little bit more time here? In one of the lawsuits, I don't know if just being uncomfortable is grounds to sue. Now, one of the lawsuits says he exposed himself. Okay, that's a whole different ballgame. And Skip, hopefully everything comes out and we have a definitive answer one way or another. But I don't know if you being uncomfortable because his private may or may not have touched you accidentally or may have been on purpose. Skip, I don't know if that's the grounds for a lawsuit, you being uncomfortable. You do understand that if you get in that profession, Skip, you're going to, be massaging men. Men have different anatomy than women. So, Skip, I'm not going to make light of what these women are alleging. Hopefully, when it comes out, everything comes out. and Deshaun tells his side, these women have their side. But these are some very serious allegations. And what we're starting to see is like more and more women start to come forward. So I hope this isn't a pattern of behavior that Deshaun is practiced in. But I'm going to let the evidence come out. I'm going to let the evidence speak for itself before I say, oh, he did it, or no, he did. These women are lying and they shouldn't be believed. Let's wait till the evidence comes out, and we'll see, and we'll move forward in that aspect.
Let us reiterate what we did 24 hours ago at this moment. Neither of us really know what happened.
Correct.
But as opposed to 24 hours ago, now we have seen 2 lawsuits. We hadn't even seen the first lawsuit yesterday.
Right.
So all we knew yesterday is that a civil suit had been filed against Deshaun Watson. And yesterday, he had already responded via Twitter, having not seen the details yet of the case, by saying that there was a baseless, this is quote unquote, baseless six-figure settlement demand.
Right.
So
even though he hadn't seen the lawsuit, Skip, he already knew something was coming forward, because surely they had broached him about this subject. Okay, this was alleged that it happened. We can make this go away if you do X, Y, Z.
So at that point, no criminal charges.
Correct.
At this point, no criminal charges that we know of on any of these suits. And it was easier yesterday to say, well, was this just a money grab? And all of a sudden, there's a second suit. And now we see the graphic detail provided in both lawsuits because they've both been made public.
Correct.
And we have the Houston-based attorney named Tony Busby, who is a celebrity attorney. He did in 2019 run for mayor in Houston. He did not win, but he ran. And he now says on his IG page that there are 4 other women, as you point out, who have come forward to him who are all preparing civil cases against Deshaun. Not filed yet, so let's see if they get filed.
Correct.
But to your point again, obviously we went from a pretty simple he said, she said, to he said, and she said, and she said, and maybe she, and she.
Correct.
And the second lawsuit alleges Watson's behavior is part of a disturbing pattern of preying on vulnerable women. Okay, so look, I'm going to declare myself here. You know how much I love Deshaun Watson. You know how much I believe in him as a football player, a competitor, and a leader of a franchise. And I did say yesterday, he has a spotless track record as far as I know.
Correct.
And he has been a model citizen as far as I know, but I must say, I'm concerned.
This is disturbing.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. And maybe he has a side we didn't know.
Right.
Now back to your point about massages. And by the way, before I leave this, Rusty Harden. You want to talk high profile. He's up there in Johnny Cochran's league.
He is.
He's a heavy hitter.
Yes, he is.
And he's been embroiled in a lot of big cases with high stakes.
Yeah.
This could be another one.
Yes.
The mere fact that Deshaun just yesterday decided I better go hire Rusty Harden is also
taking this serious.
Yes, this is not frivolous to Deshaun anymore. This is serious business.
Right.
Obviously, he has demanded a trade, and obviously, we've even heard even lately from John McClain, who has been the source on the Texans all the way back to their Oilers days in Houston on all things football in Houston.
Right.
And John McClain has flipped completely around from in January saying there's no way they're going to trade Deshaun to yesterday tweeting he expects Deshaun to be traded.
Right.
Okay. Will this damage his ability to get traded? Well, sure it could, because it's possible he's going. There's no criminal case here, so it's not like there's jail time involved. But could he get suspended for this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, Article 46 says there doesn't have to be criminal charges for the commissioner to step in. He has absolute powers.
Just merely on conduct unbecoming.
That is correct.
Okay. Now back to your point about massages. I appreciate everything you just said. I don't get them regularly, but I've definitely had massages before. Here's my other problem with Deshaun Watson. He makes almost $40 million a year. Deserves it, too.
Right.
But that's enough money, obviously, to hire a full-time athletic massage therapist. You've had Des now for low
since 1999.
Okay, that's a lot of years.
Yes. And I still fly out, Skip, every other month. She'll fly, except during the pandemic.
Right.
She flies out every other month, works about 5 days, about 3 hours a day on me.
Right. Okay.
Back out.
There's trust built there.
Absolutely.
You know her, she knows you.
Correct.
It troubles me that Deshaun Watson, as high profile as he is, making as much money as he is, would seek out a massage therapist via Instagram and risk being in a strange room with a strange woman that he does not know. I mean, he has no idea what track record is going on here. It's at very best, it's risky behavior.
It's very risky, Skip, because like you said, that's a situation where you're one-on-one. And that's the thing, Skip. When I'm one-on-one, I'm trying to make them feel comfortable. Even when I I was out here and I didn't have Dad, when I go to a place, Skip, I would request the same lady that worked on me before.
Yep.
And the same one. And so after a while, we build up rapport and, okay, Shannon, what do you like? And y'all, you working out. I can tell I'm doing this and yada. And so, yeah, you're right, Skip. In the situation like this, because that's one of the few times that an athlete is isolated, Skip. I don't really like being isolated with women I don't know.
You've said that many times.
Because I don't even want the mere mention of impropriety. So when the elevator opens up, if there's a female on there and she's alone, I take the next one. If I'm on the elevator and a woman, she wants to get on, I get off. I don't want the mention of impropriety, Skip. Because sometimes just the mention is enough. So for Deshaun, I just hate Deshaun put himself in this situation because like you said, $40 million, hell, if I make $40 million, I'm moving Daz out here. She's going to work on me every single day.
You would.
Absolutely.
You would. Obviously, you have a Tom Brady situation. He's had Alex Guerrero for years, and Alex Guerrero is his massage therapist as well as all things Brady. But again, okay, you can trust that.
Right.
But the suits allege that he went to in the first lawsuit, he went to her home. In the second one, he contacted her in Atlanta, your hometown, and flew her to Houston to meet him at a hotel.
Right.
This is, at best, reckless behavior. At best, okay? You're asking for all sorts of trouble that Deshaun Watson should be way above asking for, to me. So that's why it shakes me up. And look, obviously, in the greatest way, we live in a new era, and it's been dubbed the Me Too era, but for all the right reasons, any sort of wink-wink behavior, men to women, is just, it's not acceptable anymore. It's not going to be swept under the carpet because men will be men. Nope, can't do it anymore.
And the thing is, it's just hard now. I mean, you have to be careful even complimenting a woman. Oh, you look nice. That used to be, oh, well, thank you. You can't even say that.
I agree.
So you just like, Shannon, what do you think about this? I don't think nothing. Shannon don't even see you. Shannon, keep it moving. So I agree with you, Skip. I just hate Deshaun put himself in this situation because, like you said, with the kind of means that he has, you should have one person that works on you that you can trust. Because at the end of the day, Skip, trust is everything, especially now. He doesn't have a whole lot of people handling his money. I bet you he doesn't. He has 1 or 2 people that he trusts. Well, the one thing that you need to have one person handle is your reputation. That's you. And someone can put that in harm's way when you have this person, that person. Skip, I do the same thing. Same person cut my hair. Same person do my nail. Same person clean my home. Same person cut my grass. Now I don't have all that other stuff. Because it's hard for me, Skip. For me, God says, hey, trust me and I'll show you. I'm the opposite. Show me and I'll trust you.
Yep.
No. Ain't no blind faith here.
So I did see or hear Adam Schefter last night say that he had talked to a couple of teams interested in Deshaun and that their enthusiasm had not been dampened by this so far.
Right.
But they needed this to wait and see.
Right.
Well, yeah. I got to believe that today there's a little bit of dampening of enthusiasm.
Especially, Skip, it's the volume.
Yep.
One person, maybe 2, okay. But now we're starting to get up there. We got 3, we got 4, we got 5. And Skip, they might be frivolous. They might have merit. We just don't know yet. But the fact that this is not good. This is not good to his reputation, and he might come out and all the charges, nothing, like go to a jury or however they handle this, and it's like, okay, he didn't do this. But he's not going to be the same coming out on the other side, Skip.
No.
You can't walk through the rain and come out unwet. It's just impossible. It's, as you mentioned, especially in today's time.
Final point of order. And again, we're not trying Deshaun in the court of public opinion because we don't know enough to do that. But just to again, just for the record, as we saw in the first lawsuit, it was alleged that Deshaun made a statement to that massage therapist that she considered in the end to be a threat. And the lawsuit alleges that Deshaun later texted her to apologize for what he said to her. Okay, well, that could be evident.
Right.
If she does have that text,
right,
it's not a great thing.
No.
So I wish the best for him, but
it's just a bad look.
It's just a bad look that could get worse and worse and worse. And it's not easy to talk about, but it's very important.
Yeah, I need guys, be careful, and women, be careful. Be careful about how you put yourself in situations with guys you don't know just because he has a name. But, you know, everybody just be careful. And I'm just, man, like I said, I hopefully when more information comes out, we'll have a better idea of what actually transpired. But right now, you know, one felt uncomfortable and the other says he exposed himself. She asked him to, you know, he was laying on the table naked. She asked him to cover up and he didn't. And so it's just not a good look. And maybe, Skip, that's the worst of it, because you release the worst of it to try to force him into a situation where, okay, I don't want anything else to come out, so I'll just go ahead and settle. But I think he's too far in now, Skip, to settle.
Oh, it's almost like I didn't want to read the details because I didn't want to know the details. No. It's disturbing, the allegations right now, but I think it's hard. And I don't think any of us, and you guys have made clear, we don't want to jump to conclusions until we know all the details, and there is an investigation here. It's an unfortunate situation for all involved at this point, and we'll be following it closely, guys.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
Well, for the second straight year, the Cardinals have upgraded Kyler Murray's offensive weapons. A year after trading for DeAndre Hopkins, Arizona signed A.J. Green on a one-year deal and traded for three-time Pro Bowl center Rodney Hudson. Despite missing 9 games in the last 2 seasons, Green has made 7 Pro Bowls and was once regarded as a top 3 receiver in the league. So, Shannon, how much better did the Cardinals get yesterday?
I don't know. How good is A.J. Green going to be? I haven't seen that guy that made 7 straight Pro Bowls, Skip, in 3 years. And if Cincinnati Skip, why would Cincinnati let him go? They got a young quarterback. That's A.J. Green. From 2011 to 2017, he made 7 straight Pro Bowls. He was arguably a top 3 receiver. He, Julio, we talk about him, Julio, Odell, Dez. That's what he was thought of. Skip, I mean, 2018, he had less than 700 yards. 2020, he had 523 yards. He missed all of 2019. So what AJ Green are you getting? If you get the guy from 2011 to 2017, hell yeah, he helps him. Along with D-Hop, we don't know what's going to happen with Fitz. If Larry Fitzgerald coming back, they got Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Who can great slot in the slot.
Little Isabella can run.
Yeah, Isabella. AJ Green can play outside the numbers. He can play in the slot. Both guys you can move around. So yeah, Skip, if he's the guy from 2011 to 2017, he absolutely helped me. But let me, Skip, you covered this game 40 years. I played it a long time. In the sport of football, guys don't get healthier as they get older if they've been beat to hell early in their career. That just doesn't happen. Now, we've seen guys, he was so sickly as a child. Now he's healthy as a horse. That happened. But in that sport, no, that doesn't happen like that. Because them car collisions, they happen every single week. Just imagine you try to get a car repair, Skip, and you got to go put it right back on the road again and get it dented up again. That's what the body is. So I don't know what A.J. Green they're going to get. I love the Rodney Hudson, Skip, because you saw what happened with Kyler. They got off to a great start, and then he got nicked.
He did.
And they started off, 6-2, and they ended up going 3-5.
Yep.
And they finished 8-8. And at one point, as a matter of fact, they was in the lead in the NFC West.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Rodney Hudson. He's an unbelievable center. But, Skip, I just don't know what I'm going to get with A.J. If you told me A.J. Green was going to be 85% of what he once was, Skip, I say that's a big addition. That's another 2 wins because you can't double him and D-Hop.
No.
But I just don't know what I'm going to get.
Okay. I believe they are going to get 85% of A.J. Green.
Okay.
And I'm glad you threw that number out there because that's what I was pointing toward.
Okay.
I'd like to think 90, but I'll go with 85.
You go to 85, okay.
The reason I believe they'll get it is that, yes, A.J. Green was beaten up in Cincinnati, but I think he was beaten up psychologically and mentally as well as physically. He did miss all of 2019 with an ankle fracture.
Yeah. Cincinnati will do that to you, huh?
It just does it to you. So what happened in his first 7 years? Well, he did have my guy, Andy Dalton, throwing to him. And as I always say about Andy, he's not bad.
Right.
Well, that made for 7 straight Pro Bowls. Andy Dalton was good enough to help A.J., who's better at his position than Andy is at his position.
Correct.
But it helped A.J. rise up into the top 3 receivers. Mm-hmm. Some people would make the case he was the top 1 receiver for a while.
Right.
And they were pretty good because, as I always say, in Andy Dalton's first 5 years, they averaged 10 wins a year. And they did make the playoffs 4 times. They did not win a playoff game. And Andy was not very good in those playoffs because he's 1 touchdown to 6 interceptions. But at least A.J. Green was contributing to playoff teams for a long time. Yeah. 2019 happened, came and went. I can even make the case it became a plus because you have an extra year off from your body. He's going to play at 33 years of age. Then what happened last year? Well, they were just sorry because they started a rookie quarterback, again, the first overall pick, Joe Burrow, but he was a rookie, and he got the you-know-what kicked out of him.
Yes.
And he was gone after 10 games. And then it was Brandon Allen, and then it was Ryan Finley, and that's what A.J. was relegated to having to deal with.
Right.
And every time, I didn't watch a lot of Bengals, but every time I did watch Bengals, his body language was just pathetic.
It was.
It said, I don't want to be here anymore, right? It was half-hearted. It was lackadaisical. It was, I'm not into this anymore.
Right.
Okay, so now it's what I keep calling the Tom Brady effect. Everybody sat back and said, Brady did that? He left a team he'd been with for 20 years and a dynasty and an owner who was like a father to him. And he went to Tampa and took that 7-9 team and did that?
Yeah, but Skip, it should be a lot easier to leave Cincinnati than it is to leave New England.
Okay, I got it. But everybody sat back and said, God, how did he do that? Well, he was rejuvenated.
Right.
He was on a mission to show Belichick he was wrong. Well, here we go again, which is why when we made our list of available free agents that we rank our top 5 yesterday, every one of my guys that I ranked were perennial Pro Bowl players who were looking to start over somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, here's A.J. Green. He was only with the one team, and let's see what happens now because I got to believe you're going to see a new man. Now, is there enough of the old man left for the new man to be a factor here? I think so. I'll go 85%. But if he's if he's like on a new lease on life, a second sort of a start over,
Right.
Thank you, God, I change of scenery with a quarterback, that quarterback's pretty good. He got banged up down the stretch, to your point. I had him at 6-3 after the Hail Murray.
Yeah, 6-3. You're right,
6-3.
Yeah.
And then they lose 5 of their last 7. But remember, it was the very next game at Seattle. He got banged up. His shoulder got banged up, and he didn't look like himself.
It wasn't the same.
Okay? And they fall to 8-8, and he was ranked over the last 7 games the 14th best quarterback by Pro Football Focus. Okay. It was kind of an ugly end to what I thought was going to be a spectacular year for the Arizona Cardinals. So they go get J.J. Watt. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it can't hurt. It's gonna be some upgrade.
Right.
And now you give him a potential weapon opposite the weapon, DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe you take a little heat off him, just a little bit.
Right.
If A.J. Green is 85%, that will work. And to your point, Rodney Hudson, most people don't know, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
It concerns me that the Raiders were willing to part ways with him.
I think the Raiders was over budget, Skip, because they released a lot of guys, Skip. They released a lot of guys. But they re-signed Rich Incognito. They traded Gabe Jackson to Seattle. They released Rodney Hudson. So we saw them release a lot of guys on the defensive side of the football. Skip, I don't know if people remember this. In 2011, A.J. Green went in front of Julio in the draft. Cincinnati took him with the 6th. Atlanta traded up.
Yeah, they did.
To get Julio. So that's what they thought of them coming out, that A.J. Green was the first receiver off the board, not Julio. Now, we know Julio have been producing. Skip, Julio got almost 13,000 yards in 10 years, and we know he's been nicked. But when he's been there, Julio's a monster. So can A.J. Green, as you mentioned, 85%, bring some of the old A.J. Green that we saw from 2011 to 2017? If he can, Skip, that's only going to help Kyler Murray. Also, Rodney Hudson being in the center of that offensive line is going to help. Because I don't care what A.J. Green is. I don't care what D-Hop is. If you don't protect Kyler Murray, Skip, he's too small. He can't take it. He can't take those hits.
Nope, he will not be able to take it. So, to me, they won the day yesterday.
Right.
And I think they made a leap yesterday. I think they're back in contention to win. You could argue the toughest division in football.
It is, but Skip Foxman still got them at plus 550 to win the division. The Rams, the 49ers.
Still got them last.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they improved their chances. I think it's going to be real good. I think it's going to
that
take
is no
off.
question the toughest division in football.
Yeah. Well, I love what they did, and I'm going to love them. And I had them as a wild card team last year, and I thought I was right, and then I was way wrong. And I'm definitely going to pick them to be a wild card coming up this time.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough, Skip.
It's tough.
Because you believe that the Rams improved their quarterback.
They did.
But the Rams always had the best division, had the best defense in the division.
Yeah, I don't know how troubled the Seahawks are.
Yeah.
Built around the whole Russell issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Well, we'll see.
That could be an issue in and of itself. And then what do you do with Jimmy G? How healthy is he going to be, Skip? His problem is that he can't stay healthy, and he can't stop turning the ball over.
Nope. I agree.
All right, well, some teams have been busy during free agency. Some teams, not so much. So after the Cowboys crossed a Dak Prescott extension off their to-do list, and yes, well done, there was hope they would be aggressive to kick off free agency, despite their recent reputation for refusing to spend big money on free agents. Dallas has quite a few holes to fill, notably on defense. But Wednesday was really another slow day for Dallas, who announced they released punter Chris Jones and later signed Jordan Lewis on a 3-year deal. So, Skip, I start with you. How disappointed are you so far by the Cowboys in free agency? No laughing, Shannon.
This got so bad last night that I finally sat down at my keyboard and I went all caps and I tweeted, "Would somebody please wake up Jerry Jones and tell him free agency has started?"
You press in? You send it out?
Send.
Oh, man.
And I wish I could have sent it right into Jerry's brain. Shannon, I cannot forget those fateful words from Jerry Jones at the Dak press conference. It was all peace and love, kiss and makeup. And Jerry said, We still got a big piece of pie left. Big piece of pie. And he's talking about salary cap pie because they squeezed in Dak $75 million that he's going to make next year at just 22.2 versus next year's cap.
Right.
22.2. And I'm thinking, I told you the next day, Eureka, I got it. I think you could go get 2 significant free agents, not top dollar free agents, but two starters on defense because obviously they were horrendous. They were all-time pathetic on defense. And I was stuck. I woke up, and looked at the list and I said, wait a second. We just signed a guy named Ty Nsekhe. I'd never even heard of him before.
I don't even know who he is.
Okay? He's a backup offensive tackle who's bounced all around the league, who played all kinds of arena football. He played for some team called the Los Angeles Kiss. I'd never even heard of that before. And he grew up in Dallas, went to high school in Arlington, and so he's sort of come full circle and gone home. But they gave him $1.75 million. That's like it. That's number one. That's your best. That's your centerpiece of your free agency so far. And then they did keep Jordan Lewis. I like little Jordan Lewis. He's a former third-round pick, and they gave him money. They gave him $5 million a year.
Right.
He did start 13 games at corner last year because they were beat up, and Awuzie was a bust, and now he's gone to Cincinnati.
And if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Lewis might be the only draft pick from that 2017 class. Because remember, Taco Charlton, all those guys are gone.
They're all gone. They retained C.J. Goodwin, who's their special teams ace and kind of their gadget guy. And they signed a new long snapper named Jake McQuaid. And this is it. And so I'm having to look at the anti-Belichick here. This is no dollar bill operating. This is nary Jerry, because there's nary anything going on with Jerry, right? Well, we talked yesterday about they have been miserable in free agency.
Yes.
They've been very good in the draft, and it sort of canceled out the swings and misses at free agents. And remember, last year, Jerry came out swinging, and he got Gerald McCoy. I love Gerald McCoy, and he ruptured his quad. And he's still sitting out. I don't know if he's healthy or not. I don't know. But he's now a free agent. And you remember they went and got Brandon Carr and HaHa Clinton-Dix and Dontari Poe and Everson Griffin. And I thought, yes, because they're all a little better than what I had the year before.
Right.
Well, now I look at it, and you have a pathetic defense that is still just sitting there undone. Like you haven't even addressed it at all. So who'd I have at the top of my available list yesterday? Patrick Peterson.
Right.
It's because of the Brady effect. It's just what we talked about with A.J. Green. Patrick Peterson, lifer with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, that's a loss for them to me, but he had run his course with them, and for whatever reason, he was going through the motions.
Right.
And they didn't like it anymore, and he was too expensive for somebody to go through the motions. So all of a sudden, Minnesota says, we'll take him.
Right.
They paid him $10 million a year, and I believe he'll be worth it.
Right.
Because he's just a stud. He's a perennial Pro Bowler who will, if not, they started 2 rookies at corner last year in Minnesota. Watch what he does for those 2.
And plus the fact, going to a new team, he has to prove, I'm worth $10 million, and y'all made a mistake, Arizona, by not giving me another long-term deal.
I was just talking about A.J. Green.
Right.
He's going to be on a mission to say, okay, watch what I do here, Cincinnati. Now I got a real quarterback. Okay, so Patrick Peterson would have been perfect in Dallas because I believe we're going to have 2 very young cornerbacks, because Trevon Diggs, he had his moments last year, and you finally signed off on him, like you.
I think he's gonna be. I think he has the ability to be really good.
All right, and I think they'll take Patrick Surtain with the 10th overall pick, and I will endorse and embrace and applaud that. Well, a rookie at corner and a second year at corner. Well, you need a Patrick Peterson, or you need a Malcolm Butler, or you need a Richard Sherman. You need somebody who's decorated, who's been there and done all that, who's made Pro Bowls, who can come in and say, hey, this is how this game is played. This isn't college football. This isn't Bama anymore. This is how we do it.
Skip, you look at Tampa. Yeah, they drafted Lavonte David. They drafted Devin White. But look at what they did. JPP was a free agent. Shaq Barrett was a free agent. Tom Brady was a free agent. Rob Gronkowski was a free agent. AB was a free agent. You see, Skip, Leonard Fournette was a free agent. You see where I'm going with this, Jerry? If you think you're just going to draft play, you're going to win the Super Bowl with just drafting.
Yep.
No, you're going to have to fill in pieces. And for whatever reason, Skip, he had that push where he signed Deion. Deion went to the Hall of Fame. T.O. went to the Hall of Fame. He paid big money for Leroy Glover. Look, Leroy Glover went to the Pro Bowl damn near every year he was in Dallas. They paid big money for Leonard Davis. Leonard Davis went to the Pro Bowl for 3 consecutive years. And then outside of that, Skip, he's been penny pinching. And none of the free agents that he signed has played off because he's trying to nickel and dime. Now, I'll give Jerry credit. And I guess what he's looking at, Skip, well, the guys that I draft, I do pay them. Even though Tony Romo was undrafted, paid Tony twice. He paid Dak. He paid Zeke. He paid all the guys that he drafts, Skip, he pays. But you need to feel that you have glaring weaknesses in certain aspects of your team, and you have been unable to fill that through the draft. If you can fill that in free agency, Skip, you're doing a disservice to say, well, I just don't want to spend that kind of money. You're spending money, you're just not spending enough of it getting the top-tier guys when you could. Skip, he signed, what, 5, 6, 7 guys when he could have just signed one that made a difference.
Totally agree. So Jerry's attitude is usually, we grow our own. He's so proud of their drafting under Will McClay and Jerry Jones, because he has final say, that he says, we pick them and we grow them here. And we stock our defense with young talent. And again, it's cheaper talent because you get them on their rookie deals, and that's how Jerry plays this game. So Jordan Lewis, they're proud of Jordan Lewis, even though he started 13 games last year for a pass defense that was ranked 27th by Pro Football Focus. The run defense last year was ranked 31st in the National Football League. 31st, only the Texans were worse. And for a while, the run defense, as you remember, was on a historically bad pace.
Go get Ndamukong Suh. Spend $8-9 million and go get Suh.
Go get Suh. He's still unsigned as far as I know. I'd like to see him back in Tampa, but I'd take him in Dallas. It's a long list of players still sitting there. Maybe Jerry's just trying to play the waiting game to go bargain basement bin where you still get a pretty good buy, but it's a cheap buy. And usually, as I told you, my late mother always said, you get what you pay for.
Well, Skip, that's what he's been doing in free agency. He's been waiting for these bargains, and he's gotten a lot of bargains. But at the end of the year, they're gone.
And just when you bring back a Jordan Lewis, he ranked last year by Pro Football Focus the 116th best cornerback. Well, I like him. He's made a few plays. Remember, he intercepted Drew Brees at the end of that Thursday night game. It closed the deal. Remember that? It was actually just a horrible throw by, I don't know what Drew Brees was looking at. It's like he threw it right to Jordan Lewis. But occasionally, he ball hawks and makes a play. But is he worth $5 million a year? Could you have gone out and gotten a free agent corner? Could you have just go ahead and ponied up to get Patrick Peterson for $10 million? Would he have paid off? Yes, sir.
They need playmakers on that side of the Deion was a playmaker. Charles Haley was a playmaker. Leroy Glover was a playmaker. If you're going to go on that side of the ball, it's not just good enough to be solid. You need playmakers. You need difference makers. Where's the difference maker? That was supposed to be D-Law. Hopefully D-Law has the bounce-back season. He's going to go back to his natural position, a 43 defensive end, hand in the dirt. Tilt the 9, tilt the end, and go get the quarterback. Okay, hopefully he gets back to being himself. But, Skip, they got no playmakers over there. Every team, if you look at all the teams, Skip, the teams that are really good, that contend year in and year out, what do they have on the defense side? They got at least one playmaker.
Okay, so then I listed all the cheap buys at safety on my list. And you said, well, what about John Johnson III? I said, I just don't think he can afford him because I thought he would command $15 million on the open market. Cleveland got him for 10 a year. Well, can Jerry? I got pie left. I got pie. well, do you have pie?
I don't know what he's saving it for.
well, can you give me a little piece of pie? Just give me a $10 million slice of pie for a John Johnson, because all of a sudden I got a made man. I got somebody who can play because I've seen him play for 3 years. On the big stage and big games, and he comes up big. Well, he picked off Drew Brees in a game that really counted because it was the one to get them to the Super Bowl. Remember?
So I just don't get what Jerry's doing. I understand it. He's to be commended, Skip, for drafting his players. They play well. But, Jerry, you need additional pieces to fill out to make this thing complete. That's what you did to win your... He always harks back, Skip, to those Super Bowls teams. What did you do to fill that team out? You went and got Charles Haley. You went and got Deion
That was
Sanders.
a Jerry special, by the way.
Yes.
But that was it. That was the catalyst.
Even though, Skip, that was a trade, you took a chance, but he's not willing. It doesn't seem like he's willing to take chances when it comes to free agents.
Yeah, because there are certain names when you go get it, like A.J. Green. You could be right. Maybe he's 30% of what he used to be.
Right.
But when I say A.J. Green, your eyebrows go up like, maybe.
Right.
Okay, well, give me more than give me more than a shrug.
Right.
Because even though I like Gerald McCoy last year, but the rest of them were just sort of guys to me.
Right.
They were pretty good guys, but just guys. And then they all mutinied, as you know, against the new coordinator, Mike Nolan. And I was demanding him gone at midseason, drop the mic.
It was a quarter of the season.
Okay.
4 games in, you
maybe 4 games in. But again, Jerry at midseason just said, okay, they've revolted, they've mutinied, they're all gone.
Right.
And he whacked all of them. Every one of them are gone. Yeah. And I said, well, what do you have nothing to show for last year. So now it appears to me he is putting all of last year's blame on Mike Nolan.
Yes.
Well, then the blame should also be on the guy who hired him, Mike McCarthy, because there's it was almost like nepotism because they were kind of brothers, right? Mm-hmm. And they helped each other.
Mike Nolan hired him as OC when he got the head job at San Francisco.
Okay, so he paid him back, and it was a disaster.
But, Skip, you told me Jerry liked box office. He likes to make big splash. Deion Sanders made him the highest paid. T.O. was ready. Get your popcorn ready.
Box office on offense, not on defense. He did get Deion, and that's like the ultimate box office to me. But Deion was primetime, so he knew Deion transcended defense. Right? He got Charles Haley because he knew they didn't have anybody who could rush the passer. So that was just desperation.
And you was taking a chance because Charles came with some baggage.
Oh, did he?
Lots of baggage. I'm talking about like all the baggage that's up on the Delta flight. That kind of baggage.
True. That is true.
But Charles, I know you're watching. You my dog. But,
he's my dog. He dogged me occasionally. But listen, there's never been anything like Charles Haley.
And that was the only locker room that could have handled Charles.
Yep.
He couldn't have gone anywhere else.
Totally.
Because Charles would have blew it up. But they had just enough dogs that were just like Charles in that locker room.
Yep.
And Jimmy, that it worked out perfectly.
Okay. And then the Amari Cooper deal.
Yes.
Again, it's like a free agent, but it's a trade.
Right.
And you trade next year's number one overall, your first round pick for a guy who just brought Dak Prescott back to life at midseason back in 2018.
Yeah, Dak might need to shoot Amari a little something too. Because before Amari got there, Skip, we weren't looking at Dak. We weren't talking about Dak like we talk about Dak not throwing the football.
But Amari's doing okay. He's making 21
No,
million.
you say, well, Dak, you need to go in and shoot me a couple of signing bonus.
I co-sign on that because I think he does owe him a little
He owe me a little something. But I don't know what Jerry's thinking, Skip, in his free agency when it comes to defense. Skip, that's your weakness. That is your weakness.
It's not. I can't even give, like, weaknesses too soft, you know? Like, they're just a disaster on defense. It's like, where do you start?
Yeah. You got to get a playmaker, Skip. They need somebody.
But Jerry's sitting back. He's yawning, shrugging, saying, I got D-Law. I pay him a lot of money.
Yeah.
I got Wolf Hunter. I got Jen Smith. I pay him a lot of money. They don't have all
They're going to have to decide on Wolf Hunter, Skip. He's in the 5th year. You going to pick up that 5th-year option?
Yep. Well, he might have to pick it up at the hospital because he always seems to be going to the hospital for the latest injury.
See, I think also, Skip, he's probably going to pick it up because he's afraid, what if Wolf Hunter goes somewhere else and turns out to be Brian Urlacher? And so Jerry don't want to miss out on those opportunities, Skip.
They'll keep him because we grow
we drafted it. He's ours.
Jerry, please just snap out of it. Just one time. There's still names left on this list.
Who you want to get? One name you want him to get.
Well, I'll take Earl Thomas. I already told you that. That'd be like
heard that already.
Jerry said they disconnected Earl's number.
Well, did they? Because he was ready to crawl to Seattle for him at one point, right?
But you know, Jerry, if Seattle pulled the rug out from under you, they got Chicago. They pulled the rug out from under Chicago. They thought they were going to get Russ with 3 first-rounders, 2 starters, and a third, Skip.
No mercy. Time for a trending story brought to you by the all-new Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. Well, Bill Belichick isn't usually aggressive in free agency, but after his first losing season since 2000, the Patriots signed 8 players in a 24-hour span. And linebacker Kyle Van Noy announced on Twitter last night that he is returning to New England on a 2-year deal. NFL agent Drew Rosenhaus also gave some insight into Belichick and the Patriots' mentality this week, saying, quote, They had the money out there and they were hungry. I got the feeling that last year didn't sit very well with them. Say that again. Well, Shannon, is this genius or desperation from Bill Belichick?
Skip, I think I gave you a little insight yesterday. Coach Belichick is the guy that had the nice girl. He didn't do right. She leaves, gets her new man, and do it quite well. So Coach Belichick goes and buys him a new sports car, gets him a Cuban link, gets him a Paddock, and say, see, if you'd have just waited, everything would have been peachy. But the new girl's like, nah, but I won the Super Bowl. He said, but you're not happy. See, you'd have been happier winning a Super Bowl with me. Skip, also, this shows that I've made mistakes in the draft. You don't spend that kind of money on 2 tight ends that you just took 2 tight ends in 2020. You don't do what you did. He's saying to kill Harry, you were a mistake. Because I went out and got me 2 wide receivers in free agency.
He did.
So that's what he's saying. He's compensated for some of the mistakes that he's made.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not taking it like Coach Belichick, the coach, is a lot better than Coach Belichick, the general manager, because his draft pick leaves a lot to be desired.
Agreed.
Haven't drafted a Pro Bowl player since Jamie Collins in 2013, outside of a punter. That's not good.
Nope.
So what he did, Skip, is that some of the mistakes that he's made in the draft, he went out in free agency to cover it up. He said he didn't have any money last year. That's why he gave Cam Newton $1 million. Well, I guess he's been saving for this one, Skip. You know, you save all your pennies, and one day that's what I want to buy. And he went out and bought him 2 tight ends. He bought him 2 wide receivers. He bought him an offensive lineman. So he bought a lot of stuff. Yes, Skip, it bothered him. You don't have the level of success that Coach Belichick had.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it's one thing, Skip, you make the playoffs and you lose. Coach Belichick has made the playoffs and lost in the divisional round or lost in the wild card round.
Yep.
But not to make the playoffs at all? That hadn't happened since 2002. And all of a sudden, you go from winning Super Bowls and contending AFC titles to not even making the playoffs. Hell, now that wasn't going to sit right with him. And he was going to spend all of Mr. Kraft's stimmy money to make it right. I believe they're a playoff team, Skip. I believe they've done enough. It's going to be on Cam. They brought Cam back. Coach Belichick wanted to run it back. He said, I want to see Cam a year removed further from that surgery. I want to see have him another year up on his belt in the system, not come in at the last minute. And I believe they've done a lot. This is so now if it doesn't work, it's going to be on Cam, Skip, because he's giving him everything he needs. 2 tight ends, they play 12 personnel, had great success. Tom Brady had great success when they ran 12 personnel. I'm not saying Cam Newton is going to be Tom Brady. He doesn't need to be. But he needs to get back to be 65, 70% of the Cam Newton that won the MVP and let those guys work for him. So that's what Coach Belichick did. No, it didn't sit well with him. Don't think for 1 second he didn't watch every single thing that Tom Brady was doing. He was on IG watching her stories, looking at it. Man, you know she can see you watching her stories, Coach Belichick. Yeah, I want him to see. That's why I keep posting. I keep winning playoff games. I won the Super Bowl because I want him to see what he lost.
Yep.
And Coach Belichick said, I'm going to meet me in L.A. in 2022.
Okay. So that jilted lover you refer to, when he buys his new pad, does he overpay for the new pad? Yes.
Skip, he don't need no sports car, but he got to show her, I'm still young at heart.
Yeah, did he go to Beverly Hills and just pay whatever the price tag was?
Yep.
The sticker, you just pay it.
Yes.
Because that's the way they do business in Beverly Hills.
That's the way they do
car
business.
Dealerships. Okay. First of all, consider the source. I know Drew Rosenhaus, known him forever. I enjoy him. He's fun to be around.
Yeah.
But he's a businessman, and he just did really nice business deals with Bill Belichick.
A lot of those guys, he signed with his guys.
Jonnu, Jalen Mills, Trent Brown, that Godshaw from Miami, all Drew guys.
Yeah.
So when he says, besides being a great coach, Coach Belichick, I think, is an outstanding talent evaluator and a great NFL executive. I don't know about
all that.
Yeah. So Drew goes on to say, I think it's scary to give an outstanding coach like that tons of cap room that most teams don't have this year. And I think the Patriots are going to be a very dangerous team next year. They definitely will be improved. Dangerous, I won't go that far because I think they are winning free agency just because of the cash splash. Nobody has splashed cash like Dollar Bill Belichick has.
Dollar Bill.
Just splashing it all over everywhere. And the volume of it, the magnitude of it is just overwhelming because most teams, such as my team, are just sitting back in the weeds watching all this, right?
And we've never seen this from him.
No.
We've never seen him spend like this.
No.
That's what, Skip, that's for teams that's never won. Spend money like that. The Jets spend money like that. The Dolphins spend money like that. Washington football team spends money like that. Not a team that's went to 9 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. Those guys don't spend like that. That's 1/6 of them. You spend a little minute. They normally do like Cincinnati. Cincinnati don't really spend no money because we know Mike Brown cheap. No. But Coach Belichick's like, hey, I got this money. I'm spending all in one place.
He is spending it all. In one day, it felt like.
Yeah, that's what he did, Skip.
Okay, congratulations. And I told you as soon as the Hunter Henry news broke, I said, okay, I'm impressed.
Yes.
And, you know, I looked down the list. Jonnu Smith, he's pretty good.
Yes.
And Matthew Judon, yeah, he'll flash off my screen every once in a while.
Re-signed Kyle Van Noy.
They did, and it's nice. But remember, Miami said no.
No,
we're done. We gave you your money, and now we're done with it. Right?
Right.
And Patrick Chung just announced that he is retiring.
Right.
So sort of 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Right.
Did they get better? Yes. Do they have a transcendent difference maker? Did they go get somebody, a Trent Williams at left tackle, where you say, whoa, that's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Are there any Hall of Famers on this list?
No.
Because Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith have not made one Pro Bowl combined. Not one.
No, I mean, normally what Coach Belichick, he's only gone and got one.
Yeah.
Revis. He went and got the higher gun.
Revis, sort of at the end of his run.
But he was unbelievable for them.
He was.
And then he couldn't pay him more than we was going to pay Tom Brady.
Yep. And then back to, you know, as much as I like Matthew Judon, again, Pro Football Focus ranked him 41st of 76 edge rushers because they're saying much of his production came courtesy of Baltimore's extraordinarily high blitz rate. Okay, I got that. And they question Judon's unproven ability to win one-on-one battles. Mm-hmm. Is he Charles Haley that we just talked about? No, he's not. Did you get a little better? Yes, you did. It's still going to come down to the play of that quarterback. He now has much better weapons than he had.
Yes.
But Cam's QBR last year was 30th of 33 qualified quarterbacks.
Can he get that to the middle of the pack, Skip? Can he get 15th?
If he could get to 15th, they would have a chance.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay? If you tell me Bill Belichick's going to wave his magic wand and get Deshaun Watson to New England, some people have speculated about that possibility, then you got me.
Yeah.
Then I'm all in. Yeah,
call this boy up. He's like, do me a solid. Let me get Deshaun off your hand.
And I think that's why people speculate about it, because Nick Caserio is now running the Texans and used to be his right-hand man
and besides,
in New England.
Give me 4 first rounders because you're going to mess them up anyway.
Well, you could make that case. So that's the kind of shock move. That's the bombshell that is missing so far. It's high volume, but is there one move that makes you say, whoa,
no,
you're back in business?
Well, Skip, they had a lot of leaks, so he had to plug a lot of areas.
Yep.
So his sink was backed up, his toilet was backed up, the roof was leaking. So he had to plug a lot of things, Skip. He spent a lot of money, but he had to. And that's on him now, Skip. You know, you keep talking about he's a talent evaluator, he's a general manager. Who did all that? Who drafted those 2 tight ends in the 3rd round, and one of them you traded up to get? Who drafted that receiver?
It's a great point. Thank you for making it a very objective point on your part. I was surprised to hear from Drew. He was talking about what a pleasure it is to do business with the ultimate decision maker, to negotiate with him as opposed to a middleman who has to keep going back and forth.
Right.
Well, he's saying, I'm dealing with the decision maker. Like, I did these deals straight with Belichick.
Yeah, we know that.
So he's negotiating the deal.
Yes.
Really?
Skip, everybody knew that. Everybody knew that Coach Belichick.
I didn't know he actually negotiated the deals. I thought he would let a Nick Caserio do it.
No. Skip, and that's why they fail. They don't get an opportunity to do anything. They just have the job title. He's doing everything.
Everything.
He's doing all the coaching. That's why they don't have the level of success that we see other coaches that's been under. Look at the coaches under Mike Holmgren. Andy Reid actually got to call plays.
Yep.
Andy Reid actually got to, John Gruden, they actually, and Mariucci, they got to do things. Hell, nobody does anything. He does everything.
I mean, he's not just buying the groceries. He's negotiating for the groceries.
Right.
Those apples aren't worth that much.
Yeah, exactly. Skip, he's actually not just paying for the grocery, Skip. He's actually in the grocery store. And then he coming home cooking it. And then if it don't work out well, like, oh, well, I don't know, hey, I'll buy another dish.
I'm with you. This was all about what Tom Brady was doing all last year in Tampa. This is his, I think, desperate attempt to say, okay, I'm going to try to get back in business as quickly as possible by spending all my money.
Right.
It could inhibit you. It could handicap you down the road because you're going to be so overspent that you're going to have to pay that piper somewhere. When you do get an opportunity to land that quarterback, you might not have the cap space.
Well, Skip, you got to go get you a pretty girl too.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady went down there and got a Super Bowl, so you got to try to get you a pretty girl, which means you got to get to the Super Bowl and win it too. That's the only thing. And this notion that, oh man, Coach Belichick keeps his head down. If you don't think Coach Belichick was paying attention to everything Tom Brady was doing, if he were, they would somebody was telling him.
I agree. I mean, out of nowhere, Bill Belichick started doing Subway commercials.
Yeah.
No more Brady. It's my stage. I'm the face of the franchise. I'm Coach Subway.
So Coach Belichick don't know who won the Super Bowl, huh? He has no idea who won the Super Bowl.
Or how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He knows Tom Brady put immense pressure on Coach Belichick. He could have had a year. If Tom Brady didn't win it this year, like, well, Tom didn't win the Super Bowl either. Tom went down there in 1 year and won the Super Bowl. And First year without you.
He also knows Tom Brady has a pretty good shot at winning one next year.
Coach Belichick
That's horrifying.
Coach Belichick said, I'm going to see you in L.A. You ain't going to beat me. Yep. Coach Belichick, you already know Coach Belichick see him. It's over. We already got cases on that. Coach Belichick going to do his thing on him this year.
You know, it's interesting to me. I think a lot of this overhyping of Belichick comes from the overhating of Brady. Like, by default, Belichick gets a lot of acclaim and mystique that he doesn't deserve to me because so many people don't want Brady to win.
But Skip, you don't think these are some good, I mean, you don't think he filled areas of need on his football team with these selections? Now, we don't know if they're, what they were in their other locations, they was tremendous.
Okay.
Now, if they come in and perform like they performed at don't you think these were good transactions?
Nelson Aguilar, you never liked him.
No.
Okay, is he better than Curtis Samuel? We're about to talk about Curtis Samuel.
Oh, no.
He's
Hell
just
no.
not better.
No,
is he better than Kenny Golladay, who might or might not go to the Giants today? No, he's not.
But Coach Belichick don't like injuries. You know how Coach Belichick is about injuries. How did N'Keal Harry start off? Injured. And he's saying basically by signing these two guys, Skip, I made a mistake on you, bro.
He did.
I mean, there's no other way around it.
I
made a mistake on you, bro.
Okay. Good luck.
Oh, God, yes.
Yep.
I see 11-5.
Yeah. Boy, I'm liking Tampa Bay.
I'm liking these two cases for the playoffs.
Did you see Tampa Bay even sewed up old Ryan Suckup? They got it all done. He got 3 years, $12 million.
That's a good little money.
Yeah,
that's a good little money.
Kicker.
But
he was the kicker.
Well, and you were confident in him.
The game of the century in New England.
No mercy. James Harden has been unstoppable in his first 27 games for Brooklyn. And in last night's win against Indiana, he finished with another monster triple-double, scoring a season-high 40 points, handing out 15 assists, and grabbing 10 rebounds in 42 minutes. It was his sixth game for Brooklyn, where he scored more than 30 points and dished out more than 10 assists. Harden led the short-handed Nets to their 13th win in the last 14 games. So, Shannon, I gotta ask you, is Harden now pushing LeBron for MVP?
You know, Skip, I always had Harden in the MVP discussion because he was playing so well. I mean, he's running away. I mean, what is he? He's probably over 11 assists per game right now. And, you know, he's still giving you 26, 27 a night, 11 assists, get your double-digit rebounds. It's probably like 7 rebounds a game now. So for me, he was always in the MVP discussion. And because Joel Embiid is hurt, and is going to probably miss 2 to 3 weeks, Skip, I think that injury has taken Joel Embiid out of the MVP discussion. I just don't know if you, especially in a shortened season, you can miss as many games as he's going to miss and still be in the MVP discussion. So right now, I mean, James Harden is right there with LeBron. I mean, I think it's because they're winning and the Lakers are winning. Now, Jokic has been phenomenal also. I just don't know, Skip, right now I think they're in the 7th seed. So maybe a little higher than that, but it's been touch and go. But Jokic has been phenomenal. The question that I have and the question that I've had for the longest, are you only going to give James credit for what he's doing in Brooklyn, or are you going to hold what he did in Houston against him? And that's what the voters, only the voters, I don't have a vote, Skip, so only they can answer that question. Because if you're going to give him credit for the wins in Brooklyn, you also have to give him credit for the losses in Houston. And also, what happens when KD comes back. I don't know if we've ever seen a guy win the MVP as the second best player on his team. Have we ever seen that before, Skip? I don't know if we have. Do you believe? Now, you say KD is the best player on the planet. Now, KD's on the Brooklyn Nets.
He's also on the bench.
So do you plan on him being there for the rest of the year?
I don't know. They're saying at least two more weeks. So he's got a torn hamstring. So he's in the Embiid category. He's out of any MVP consideration,
Well,
obviously. When he comes back, if he could get back to 100%, would he be the best player on the planet? Yes, he would. But will he get back? It sounds like we're still maybe a month away from him coming back.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Skip. I thought they said strained hamstring. I guess that's the term that nobody wants to use. Nobody used pulled hamstring. Skip, when you covered the league and I played it, he pulled his hamstring. Now it's just a strain. When good strain.
I just don't like that T word, tear.
Yeah.
If it's torn, if it's got a big old tear in it, because it sounds like that's what's going on here.
For him to miss that kind of time, it had to have a small tear in it, Skip. You don't miss he's out a month now. It's a month he's been out, and you say 2 more weeks? So, yes, James Harden is the end of the MVP discussion. He's been in the MVP discussion now for about the better part of a month, and I don't think he's going anywhere because whether it's with KD or it's with the KD and Kyrie, he's been sensational. He's the driving force. He's going to be the reason they win this thing, Skip, because his passing, because he finds Joe Harris when, damn, I didn't even know Joe Harris was still on the court. He's still getting he's still shooting foul shots. He's still getting to the line. Yes, Skip, he's smack dab in the middle of this MVP race.
Wow. Shannon Sharpe is on his best behavior on today's show. He is shockingly objective. He is enlightened. He is telling the truth. He is speaking the bottom of his heart, which is always the right part of his heart. And you just admitted that James Harden has at least pulled even with LeBron James in the MVP race. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's right there. He's right there with
right there is pulled even. I concur. Because now James Harden has played 18 games in Brooklyn with no Kevin Durant. They're 14-4 without Kevin Durant. You can say that diminishes the magnitude of Kevin Durant. It actually just enhances the magnitude of the most gifted offensive player I've ever seen. Yep. I've just never seen anything like this. Is pure genius on display night after night after night. He is toying with the competition. He has the game on a string, and he is distributing just as well as he is scoring.
Skip, the thing that why he can do this, he's used to being a solo act. He's used to not having KD. He's used to not having Kyrie. So this is not new to him.
But he will involve Kyrie, no problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
I'll get you. Because he's averaging, to your point, he's running away.
Yeah, ain't nobody catching it. Ain't nobody catching this, Skip. It's over.
He's averaging 11 a game. So to your point, he has an early season stain on his record.
Yep.
He quit his way out of Houston. He had one huge game at Portland that we raved about.
44-17, the first game.
Whew. And then he said, that's enough. I just wanted to show everybody I'm still okay. I can still do this even fat. I got my little pot belly, but it doesn't bother me.
It don't bother me at all, yeah.
And then he quit his way out of Houston, and they shipped him where he wanted to go to Brooklyn, which is killing Deshaun Watson right now because he's thinking, if he could do that, I got to be able to do that. And he goes up there, and since he went to Brooklyn, he's averaging 25, 9, and 11. And in his last 13 games as a Brooklyn Net, he's 29, 10, and 11, which is called a triple-double. So for 13 straight games, he's averaging a triple-double. And there have been 2 games with no KD and Kyrie, neither one of them, in which James Harden has pulled off impossible comebacks. At Phoenix. Is Phoenix any good?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Number 2 in the West.
Okay. When he went to Phoenix with no KD and no Kyrie, they fell behind by 24. And I was watching the game saying they just quit.
Right.
They quit because they said, well, we don't have 2 of our big 3, so that's enough. Let's just take this night off. And James said, no, I got this.
Right.
And he never looks like he's playing that hard, but he does play full.
Right.
Listen, you want to talk about a baller? He plays high minutes.
Skip, he played 42 minutes last night.
But it seems effortless.
Yes.
He doesn't look like he's in the greatest shape.
Right.
It doesn't look like the greatest body. It's kind of a mismatched body he's got kind of a bigger upper
body.
torso with a little skinny legs. And he's just
cooking folks.
Just cooks everybody. So they're down 24 at Phoenix, and he brings them all the way back to win by 4.
Yeah.
Is that good? Yeah. How about last night in Indiana? I have respect for Indiana.
Yeah.
They got Karis LeVert back. You guys didn't have to deal with Karis LeVert when obviously he came back from his cancer's growth that he had removed. So he's back full force for Indiana.
Right.
And they fall behind right out of the box. They fall behind by 16 points. They're down 43-27. And there's no KD and no Kyrie. And what did James say?
Just took it over.
I got this. In the fourth quarter last night at Indiana, James scored 14 points with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Well, for most ordinary players, that's a good game.
That's a good half.
That's
Definitely a good half, Skip.
14, 6, and 4?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And that was the fourth quarter, and every time Indiana made a run, by the way, they're down 2, Brooklyn down 2 going to the fourth at Indiana, and they kept pulling away, and every time Indiana made another run, if we could see what James would do, he would just toy with them. He'd just say, no, I got this. Here he goes. He just says, I'll just go all the way to the cup. I don't know why nobody can stop that, but he is getting to the rim faster than it. Look at this. Look at this.
Can't let him get to that dominant hand. You can't let him get to his left.
And then this is the coup de grace. Here's Malcolm Brogdon trying to...
Who's a good defender.
He's just D'ing him up. He's D'ing him up through the legs, between the legs. Goodbye. And guess who that was? Miles Turner comes to challenge him. That's 7 feet of challenge. And he floats it right over him. And look at Kyrie. He's out of his mind over on the bench saying, that's too good. That is just too good. Those 3 baskets came with 3 minutes left and then a couple of minutes left and then 35 seconds left. And it was just like, no. Yeah. I got this. So I look at what he's doing. He's shooting a career high 38% from 3, and he's always near 90 from the free throw. He's 87%. And do I need to bring up LeBron's at 36.5% from 3?
37, round up.
Okay, well, it's 36.5.
We round up. We've always rounded up 0.5 or above, Skip.
And free throws, he's 69.6. Okay, I'll round up to 70. But that's still not 87%.
What we shoot from the floor? We're 50% from the floor?
But you always are because you're the greatest driver of the basketball there ever was. You can just bully people to the rim. He can't bully people, but he can just blow by anybody. I don't know how he does it, but he just does. You're 6'9", he's 6'5".
Skip, I mean, the thing is with James, if he gets the step back going,
and by the way,
he had his mercy.
He didn't shoot it very well. He was 2 of 9 last night.
But you're still so concerned about it, Skip, because, he starts that herky-jerky, you're like, okay, he about to go, and then, no, he's not going, and the next thing you know, he's by you, and he's letting the floater up, or he's kissing it off the glass, and the minute you try to back up off him, he steps back and he shoots the 3 on you. So you're really at his mercy, and got you, like I said, 14 more attempts last night. He made 12 of them. He's got it going like this. It doesn't matter who he's playing with because he's done this for the last 7.5 years while he was in Houston, basically playing a lot by himself with the exception of Chris Paul and Russ. Other than that, he didn't really have great offensive weapons like a Kyrie and a KD beside him. So he used to going it solo. As a matter of fact, he probably prefer it. He knows those guys are coming back, but he's like, man, you got me some shooters. You got Joe Harris, you got Shannon, you got TLC around me. I'm good. You guys space the floor.
So you know what you and your man LeBron need to hope for? That KD comes back sooner than later, because if he'll come back, it will diminish James' MVP case, right?
We don't
Because
want
if he has Kyrie and KD, then you'll say, well, okay.
Skip, we're going to do what we do. We don't worry about him.
Well,
James is going to do what he do.
Well,
but we got this tonight. Watch what we do tonight. You know what we do tonight. Who owns that team in Charlotte?
Guess where Charlotte was last night? Charlotte had to play at Denver. The schedule is rigged for you again.
Man, hold on.
This is a gift.
What about when we have...
So I know what's going to happen. LeBron will be up 20 in the fourth quarter, and he'll make 2 threes from the logo with 2 minutes left and 1 minute left to put them up 25 and 28 points.
Why you don't say anything when we play back-to-back? Did we not just play back-to-back?
Well, sort of.
What you mean, sort of?
Well, you blew out Golden State. LeBron took 2 late threes to put you up 28.
And then we had to play again the next night against who? Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minnesota?
Oh, are they not, like you tell me, are they not in the NBA?
They're at the bottom of the barrel in the West.
They're still in the league.
Yeah, they're in the league. I'll give you that. Okay, congratulations.
But it's goes to lose.
I hear that every
It's goes to
time.
lose.
You need KD back.
We don't need KD to
Yes,
do
you
anything.
Or you're going to lose to James Harden because he is special.
Hold on. All I know, some voters are going to say, no, what he did was unforgivable.
Maybe. Yeah. And we do know LeBron's got all those fan boys.
Oh, there you go.
That's what Kevin told me.
I'm just taking all these Minnesota jabs a little personally, Skip. You know, we did get Patrick Peterson to the Vikings. And,
I like that.
I feel like the Cowboys would have maybe wanted him.
Congratulations.
As well. So
we could have used him. You
that
got
one we did get. Just to remind you of that. No mercy. Well, Sunday, the best season ever continues on Fox as NASCAR Cup Series rolls into Atlanta, where every turn is its own test. You can catch all the action for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 at 3 Eastern on Fox and anywhere on the Fox Sports app. A week of big additions for the Washington football team continued yesterday as they signed wide receiver Curtis Samuel to a 3-year deal worth $34.5 million. This move came after Washington signed Ryan Fitzpatrick and corner William Jackson. Samuel will also reunite with his former Buckeyes teammate and fellow receiver, Terry McLaurin, in Washington. So, Shannon, is Washington now better than Dallas? And yes, I said better.
Skip, I love this pickup. They have another offensive weapon now to go with McLaurin. Mm-hmm. As Jenny said, Logan Thomas can catch the football.
Yep.
They got some decent running backs. But, Skip, the thing that I really want to say yes, but you know what happens every time expectations are placed on Ryan Fitzpatrick? You've seen this so many times. At the moment you said, ooh, Ryan Fitzpatrick gonna do this. I saw this in Buffalo. I saw this with the Jets. And every time expectation, he falls like a house of cards. So I want to say so bad, this team, especially with their defense, and now the added weapons, because Samuels can catch it, he can run after the catch. Hell, Skip, they line him up in the backfield at Carolina and toss it to him, hand it to him, and he get outside and he can run it. So I like this. But, man, you know what? They're going to beat y'all. I don't know about anybody else. They're going to beat y'all. Because that defense going to be hunting Dak again. Offensive line, your offensive line not going to be very good. Y'all got a year older.
Yep.
So you know what right now, Skip? I don't think they're done in free agency, and I'm going to see what they do in the draft. But right now, as we sit here and we discuss this, I like the Washington football team over your team.
You underestimate. We just signed Ty Nsekhe. We did. Ty Nsekhe?
I thought you were about to say y'all signed Mike Gesicki. I was like, hold on, he played tight. What good is that going to do y'all?
Ty, he's huge. He's like 6'8", 330.
And can't block the sun out his eyes.
Well, he played a grand total of 54 snaps for Buffalo, and actually Pro Football Focus ranked him high. But
how you rank somebody high with 54 snaps over a 16-game season, Skip?
Okay, I must admit publicly,
you scared.
I love this move.
I love it.
Because I really like Curtis Samuel. I told our producer, Azzy, 3 nights ago, I said, boy, he's sitting there on the market. That's going to be a steal for somebody. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's a steal from my arch rival. And it's exactly what they needed because it was too easy to try to take Terry McLaurin out of games. And Logan Thomas has turned into a former quarterback, has turned into a legit weapon at tight end.
I mean,
just legit weapon. So all of a sudden, you have 2 guys who timed 4.3 coming out of the Ohio State.
Yeah.
And actually, Curtis Samuel was 4.31 to McLaurin's 4.35, so he's a tick faster than the other guy. And they were both in the 2014 recruiting class at The Ohio State. And McLaurin tweeted last night or yesterday, quote unquote, we really talked about this in the dorms freshman year. Like they're talking about, maybe we could be on the same team in pro football, like 2 little 18-year-old kids would just sort of look wild-eyed at the future, right?
If you go to Ohio State, one thing you can do, you can run fast.
I don't know why, but they just can't.
They can't, Skip. I don't know what either. They can't.
But I kept telling you, you have a number of quarterbacks coming through there, and I say, well, they're always overrated. They got a track team, right?
Right. Why can't they? We used to say the same thing about Alabama, Skip. Remember the quarterback? Why can't their quarterbacks be even better with all that talent? Ohio State, y'all got the same level of skill position. Why can't the quarterbacks be better when they get to the NFL?
Well, speaking of Washington, they just drafted one who was not very good. And I told you, I said, I think he's mostly a product of the track team of receivers.
Yep.
Whew. Well, now they're there and he's gone.
Yep.
So now, look, Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know what? You're right. I have this queasy feeling he will beat Dallas twice, but they'll finish 8-8, and the Giants will win the division by 1 game. You know, like they'll knock Dallas out of it, but it will allow the Giants to open the door and run through it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the thing about Curtis Samuel was, do you realize last year, I know this was under the radar, but they didn't have your man McCaffrey for 13 games. They started lining him up in the backfield and running him like a running back.
Yes.
And he was pretty great.
He was.
He ran 41 times for 200 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
That'll work.
That'll work.
And he led all receivers last year in what's called catch rate. So of the balls thrown to him, he caught almost 80% of the balls. So you throw it in his direction,
right,
he will catch it. And he was among the league leaders in third down catches for first downs. Clutch.
I like Skip.
Skip,
I love this pick for the Washington football team. I love this selection because they paired, but like you said, now you can't double the guy and take him out because that's what they were doing. They were doubling McLaren and making it tough. You can get the ball to him. Now he has a guy, okay, try doubling him. This guy can run. This guy can flat out fly. He'll run by you. And the thing is, now he opened you up. You put the ball in his hands. Now you try to tackle him in space.
Okay, I still love my trio. I still love CeeDee Lamb and Amari and Michael Gallup, but they're not blazers. They're not speed freaks, right?
Yeah, I think Gallup is the fastest of all them guys, but Gallup don't have the kind of speed these guys got.
No. And we got Shannon Jarwin back, as in Blake Jarwin.
Give the man coming. Hold up.
Is he better than Logan Thompson? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
I like Logan Thompson.
I encourage you to go ahead and pick Washington to win the division over Dallas.
I'm picking them to beat y'all.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that turns out. But right now, you got me on the run.
That's the case on
I'm waiting for Jerry to spin that pie. He's got that pie.
Yeah, you saving
that big slice.
Skip,
of pie. I got pie.
You don't Skip. You save for a rainy day.
Yeah.
It ain't rainy yet.
Maybe today, Jerry splashes the cash and he goes Belichick and he wins this day of free agency.
So who you?
Sue. I'll take Sue.
So you giving up on Earl Thomas now, huh?
Well, that cost you a nickel. I mean, he'd play for free right now. Seriously. Earl Thomas would play for free just for the opportunity to reprove himself in the league and play for America.
So you got the Cowboys winning the division. What's going to be the record?
Well, I need to, before I get there, I got to see what we do. Well,
you just saw what you did. Hold on, Skip.
He said he's got money to spend.
Hold on.
They're still out there.
Skip, you signed the biggest free agent on the market, Dak Prescott.
That's
so
true.
You already know what you got. You got Dak, you got CD, you got Amari, you got Gallup. You say Ty Smith coming back. You got Zach Martin coming back. Lyle Collins coming back. Zeke coming back.
Ty Nsekhe, don't leave him out.
You got Pollard, Tony Pollard. You love Tony Pollard, right?
Yep.
Okay, Skip. That's a. You got like 8-9 Pro Bowlers right there.
And my defense remains unfixed, Jerry.
You say you will outscore everybody.
Unfixed. Well, that's how we have to do it.
So that sounds like 12-4 to me. You got a $40 million quarterback, a $20 million receiver.
Just give me a couple of more days.
Okay.
And I'll be back to you.
Okay.
But I do like our chances. I just don't love our chances against this team right now.
Okay, we'll revisit on Monday. Give you a chance over the weekend. Maybe you sign somebody.
No,
so
maybe we will. We got to.
Why you got to?
Well,
you should have enough.
The pie's going to go bad if you don't eat it, right?
No mercy. Tampa Bay has spent the offseason working to keep the core of their Super Bowl team together for the 2021 season. And linebacker Lavonte David, who agreed to a 2-year extension with the Bucs last week, is sounding pretty confident recently. When asked about how they handled Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, he said, quote, "The way Kansas City played their games, it's all predicated on Mahomes. You mess him up and they can't do anything. We were on some bleep you. We're beating the bleep out of y'all." So Shannon, how about that quote? Do you have a problem with what Lavonte David is saying here?
Let's give to the victor, go the spoils. I mean, that's easy to say after you won, but I never heard Lavonte David, I never heard anybody say anything after the first matchup. Why didn't they talk like this after the first matchup? Skip, what team, if you don't batter their quarterback, you don't win the game? Lavonte David made it seem like he was breaking news, like, what we did is that we got after the head of the snake, which is Patrick Mahomes. We battered that, and we took them out of the game. Tom Brady, when he was sacked more than 3 times, they were 1-3 in those ball games. Wow. Who knew? Now, this is the same Lavonte David that was crying after the NFC Championship game. Now he's on top of the mountain, beating his chest. Look at us. I never heard, in 9 years, I never heard Lavonte David say one word. Win the Super Bowl, and now you can't stop talking. I got no problem, Skip. I ain't got no problem, but you're not breaking no news. Right-handed quarterback, Skip. I come out here every day. Right-handed quarterback, you keep him from rolling right. You make him roll to his left to throw against his body. You play, okay, you play single, two deep safety, but you play the box in one. Lavonte David know he has help over the top, so he can be as physical as he need to be with Travis Kelce. He did a fabulous job, but bruh, why all this talking now? After the first game, I didn't hear a word. Michael Jordan used to say, hey, don't talk after the game. Say, be that man that talked before the game. I have more respect for you. I needed to hear this before the game. I needed to hear this after the first game. Now, after you win, y'all do all this talking. Come on, bruh. We know, Skip, like I said, to the victor go to sport. One thing they say about me, I'm going to talk regardless. I'm going to talk before the game, I'm going to talk during the game, I'm going to talk after the game. But this, all of a sudden, Lavonte David, tell me the time, Skip. Give me one quote in 9 years you heard Lavonte David say before Tom Brady set foot in Tampa. Give me one quote.
You got me there.
One thing he said in the paper. Send me a quote, somebody.
Yep.
Now they win the Super Bowl. We the baddest. We better than we on some different type of stuff. So what were you on? So you was on some bull jive the first time, huh? That's the problem that I got, Skip. They won. Fair and square. They beat him down. Do I believe, had they had Fisher, had they had Schwartz, do I believe Tampa would have won the game still? Probably. Do I believe it would have looked like this? No, I don't. Give Tampa credit. But now, man, they're doing a lot of revisionist history. Because if I didn't know better, Tampa been playing like this for the last 7, 8 years, Skip. This was 1 year.
Okay, but to defend Lavonte David, he has been a very good player for a very long time for very bad teams.
So what changed?
Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, before I get to the guts of these quotes, first of all, he said, if we get everybody back, I guarantee we'll win it again next year. Just for the record, I'm still a little concerned because I think they already won free agency because obviously they re-signed Shaq Barrett. Let's just start with him. They re-signed him.
Right.
And they franchise tagged Chris Godwin, and they re-signed Gronk for $10 million. And they brought the kicker back, and the kicker was money in the playoffs because he went 9 for 9 in the postseason. I'm still a little concerned about there's no news, is bad news about AB. I don't know what's going on with him. Sue is still negotiating probably with everybody. And there's no news on Fournette, though it's said that the Patriots and Seahawks are wooing him.
Right.
And does that mean that James White could
take his spot,
switch places with him? So I need to hear about these other guys, and I guess Lavonte David does too. But he
was basically saying you bring everybody back on defense. They brought Shaq back. They brought I think he was mainly yeah. But they're good. They got the key guys back.
Oh, and they did re-sign the backup tackle, or I'm sorry, guard, Aaron Stinney, who had to start through the playoffs at guard. Remember?
Yep.
So he's back. So they're pretty much back, but there's still some key pieces remaining unsigned. And I don't know. The silence is deafening for me. I don't know what's going on. They're not the Cowboys, but it's getting a little shaky. So now, here's the answer to your problem. This is from Lavonte David in this podcast. Tom Brady came in after that game, meaning the regular season game at home against Kansas City, and said he was glad we got that performance out of the way. He said we were going to get this right and not lose another game the rest of the year. I guess it's easy to say now, but they didn't. They went 8-0. 8-0. They did not even sniff another loss the rest of the way. That was it, said Lavonte. Our whole mindset shifted, and we knew we were going to play them again. Well, they were hoping they'd play them again because what did I tell you was the flashpoint of the whole NFL football season? It was 17-0 Kansas City at Tampa. And if we could see it one more time, your man Tyreek backflipped into the end zone for the 17-0 touchdown. He backflipped on Tampa at Tampa Bay. To me, that is completely out of bounds, unacceptable. And even Andy Reid said, I got a problem with that. You got to come and do it. If you want to do it on the sideline, I'm good with it. But you don't backflip over that goal line in that stadium. So to me, that stuck deep in their craw. And they didn't say anything about it. But
Why not?
Well, you just
Well, no, I just
keep it to yourself. That's where you just know.
But see, that's why
we'll get even.
So in other words, you're telling me you only gonna talk if you win. I don't need that false bravado. I need you to talk going into the game. I need you to talk during the game. I need you to say exactly what you said on that podcast. I need you to say that after the game. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that after Chicago. He didn't say nothing after the Rams. He said nothing. Only after they won the final, and I get it, Skip. Like I say, to the victor goes the spoil. But don't give me this now you beating your chest. We King Kong ain't got nothing on us.
Who was the favorite in the Super Bowl?
Skip. I get.
Don't you just sort of let sleeping dogs lie?
Skip. If he was that confident, now he guaranteed it. So how confident is he? He guaranteed it now, but he wouldn't say a word then. Oh, I see. I see how this work. He ain't real with this talk thing. Skip, like I said, 9 years in Tampa, he's been a great player, said nothing. There's been a lot of great players that didn't talk. There's been a lot of great players that did talk. But now all of a sudden, he got a Super Bowl ring. They won, fair and square. Now yeah, we was on some different type of bleep. So I guess the first time around, y'all was on that bull jive. Come on, don't do this. You talking to somebody that talked his whole 14-year career and backed it up. I ain't just talk when we won. Talk before we got there. Man, stop.
As I told you repeatedly through the year, I wasn't sure the Tampa defense could measure up to the Tampa offense to get them all the way home. It wasn't until at New Orleans that I said, oh, wait a second, I think the lights just went on for this defense because there's some badass on this defense. And this was a badass quote from him. I like it. Again, I don't care. They needed to prove themselves first because they had proved nothing all the way up to New Orleans and then Lambeau and then Mahomes.
See, that's how I know they're not real. Go back and look at the quotes of 2000 Ravens. They talk before the game. Tell you what they're going to do, show up and do it. It wasn't after we win the Super Bowl against the Giants, yeah, we was on some other kind of stuff. No, we going to knock your quarterback out. Yeah, we going to beat you. You're not scoring.
Okay, but most people would agree that just might have been the greatest defense ever. It was the baddest defense ever because people were afraid.
You better have them in.
I told you I was at your hotel in Nashville, Tennessee before that game.
Yeah.
And I rode down in the elevator with like 5 Ravens, and they were in camouflage.
We were ready.
Camouflage.
And talk.
You're on the road in camouflage?
Think about it, Skip. Now, we play on a team that's in our same division for division around, just like they played New Orleans. In their building.
And I got to tell you.
Talk the whole week leading up to it. Ain't no, we going to sneak up. Brian Billick had already told us during the season. He said, no, we ain't sneaking up on anybody. He said, we going to be banging on the drums because rattling the cages because we don't want them to say we snuck up on them. We telling you we coming. We telling you what we going to do when we get there. We going to do it and we going to leave. And if we have to see you again down the road, guess what's going to happen? That exact same thing. I told them before the game, Skip, they played, that was the year, remember the Titans came out. And they got it up on the board. They're the Titans. Yeah. And they were talking about, I said, whatever they say we said it. Now, what they going to do? 60 minutes to prove it.
Hey, I've told you before, that was simply the most physical football game I have ever witnessed firsthand. I'd never seen anything quite like the head banging that went on in that game.
I like that physical stuff. The crowd was all into it. That's what you love. There's nothing like
for those who don't remember, that's Eddie George and the late, great Steve McNair.
Steve McNair, yes. Woo. And that's when they had Javon Curry. They were loaded on defense.
They were loaded.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Schwartz was the D coordinator.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz was the D coordinator.
He was.
They didn't want to see us. we talked about what we gonna do to y'all. We told y'all this after we came down there 4 weeks earlier and beat y'all place. We the first team to beat them in the Delphi. You know, Jeff Fisher was doing all that talking because the year before they had beat Jacksonville, beat them 3 times, go to the Super Bowl, doing all that talking. This is our home away from home. Okay, we got something for you. You got somebody gonna talk just as much as you do.
And if memory serves, Shannon Sharpe caught like 1 ball.
I caught 1 ball.
It was a big ball.
Yeah, the game about to get away from it. The game about to get away. They had already scored on the game about to get away, crowd in a frenzy. We call the play, crossover. They blow the coverage. I get it down to the 1.
That was
we don't look back. We don't look back. I just made 1 play. That's all I needed to calm the crowd.
I just want to know how you got caught at the 1.
Skip, no, what happened was I was still farming, I forget the safety. I was about to go, and the guy caught me from the back.
Two of them, they took 2 of them to drag me down, Skip. I was going to take him into the end zone.
I thought you were faster.
Skip, Skip, you got to realize, I caught the ball in the 20. The safety was in the hole. I was stiff arming him. If they don't drag me down from the back, it's over.
John Wooten, the great John Wooten, told me that he timed you at your pro day at Savannah State at 4.8. I don't know. Maybe his watch was screwed up.
Well, let me ask you a question.
4.8, and I don't know. You ran all the way to the Hall of Fame. I don't know how.
Well, ask me this, Skip. How does a 4.8 guy have the longest offensive touchdown in NFL history at 4.8? Not Bob Hayes, who won the gold medal in '64. No, but a 4.8 guy got the longest offensive touchdown.
Because if memory serves, Tony Dorsett's son completely blew the cover.
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right?
He got nothing to do with me. I would pick him up and put him down.
Yeah. Right? And nobody was home.
They couldn't catch me.
Nobody was home.
They
didn't even chase you.
They were
They
chasing.
blew the cover so bad, they just looked at each other and stopped and said, I thought you had.
But I had already called, Skip. 30-18, I called ahead.
Did you?
Reservations for 6. I'm on my way. How soon will you arrive, Mr. Sharpe? I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah.
Pulled up in the end zone on them, Skip. But like I said, Skip, we all know how it goes, Skip. But don't do this. Don't make it seem like y'all reinvented the wheel. What you did, you battered the team's quarterback. Skip, that's always been the MO. What did Coach Al Davis say? Within the first couple of series of the game, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. Well, it started right away. It started right away against Green Bay. Because what did they do to Aaron Rodgers? The first pass he tried to throw, Skip, they sacked him. What did they do to Patrick Mahomes, boy? Knock him down. So a right-handed quarterback, you keep him away from his dominant hand. You force him to go to the left, make him throw the ball against his body. Okay, now we playing 2-deep shell. We know y'all can't hold up because y'all got your 2 tackles out and you got guys that's playing out of position at that position that they're not really good at their normal position. But don't do all this talking that, bro.
You mess him up, and they can't do anything, said Lavonte David of Patrick Mahomes. You mess him up.
Let me ask you a question.
What happened to the 2007 Patriots in the Super Bowl?
You mess him up?
You mess up him, and it's okay.
Yep, yeah. That's the old adage. The guy has the ball in his hand every single time. Yeah, if I bust him up, you got no choice. I get it. You won. But here's the thing, though, Skip. You know, the greatest equalizer, if anything, is injury. You got to run the gauntlet again, injury-free.
Okay, but I like the bravado because they can back it up. I don't think it's false.
It's false. No, you got to do you got to do talking before.
Can Lavonte David and Devin White back it up?
There they could.
Yes.
I want them to do this kind of talking before the game.
Maybe now they will. Now that they got a ring.
Them gonna be my guys then. If you're gonna talk before the game and you tell me you're gonna pitch a shutout or they're not gonna do anything, and you go out there and back it up, they're my guys.
This defense can bring the pain.
Okay, we're gonna find out.
You know, Tom Brady next year, he could have the best defense he's ever had in his career.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That man was sick. Why you keep every time I turn around, you try to undercut Coach Belichick? Why you do that?
He deserves it. Dollar bill.
Skip, the man told you in 2020 he didn't have any money. He came into some money. Skip, you know that settlement came in.
Shannon, he got exposed last year. You know it, and I know it.
What happened this year? What happened when he in L.A.?
80% of the credit should have gone to the quarterback in the dynasty.
Well, Coach Belichick, I believe in you. And so when you come out here for the Super Bowl, can you sit down and give us an interview? I really appreciate it. I'm going to be nice.
That would be fun. I would definitely be into that.
Man, look, I'm trying to get guests. I'm trying to get guests on the show for the Super Bowl.
He's a good cop.
No mercy. Well, it's been a whirlwind week to start 2021 NFL free agency. Deals have poured in, with the Patriots spending big money to build up their roster and Tampa doing their best to retain their Super Bowl champion core. Now joined by Fox NFL analyst Michael Vick. So, Mike, I'm really happy that you're back to help us break this all down. In your opinion, which team has had the best free agency period so far?
As of right now, so far, the Patriots. They've made the biggest splash, and it's been money well spent because they've signed some really good football players. And, you know, it's the coach's job to find out what voids need to be filled on the team. And I think when Bill Belichick looked at his team last year, and he went through the season and he knew he had all these players who opted out, who were coming back for this season, he knew what he had to build. He knew what he had the pieces that needed to be put in place. And when I say it's money well spent and the right players, from Kendrick Bourne to Matt Judon, you know, Jalen Mills, guys who are just going to be contributors and make a difference. You know, it's a reason why Bill Belichick has won 6 rings, and it's happened for a reason, because he's always found the right players to fit in the right places. And this is going to make Cam Newton's job so much easier. Now all he has to do is really manage the game. Everything else is going to take care of itself. So, you know, as they're going to continue to get better in free agency through the draft, you know, this team is going to be poised to make a splash. They're going to be very hard to beat, because look, I know what playing with 2 tight ends could be like. I had one good one. I mean, a couple over the course of my career, but I went to the NFC Championship game with Algie Crumpler alone, so I know what 2 tight ends can do in that set, especially when they know what to do with them. So, you know, it's going to be really hard to beat the New England Patriots this year, because they got better on offense and defense, hands down, and it's super evident.
I agree with you, Mike. And you said that Coach Belichick, he knows what his team means, and then we hear Drew Rosenhaus say, well, I was negotiating. Skip, it's not like the coach said, well, go tells the general manager and the owner, well, this is what we need. I think if we get this, this, and this, I think we can be a good football team. Coach Belichick is that guy that's the head coach that's talking to the general manager, says we need this, this, and this. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to go get that. He say, Mr. Kraft done gave me that stimmy. I'm good now, Skip. And he spent it, well spent. He knows what he needed. Skip, we don't need Kendrick Bourne, and we don't need Aguilar to be Julio. We don't need him to be Devontae, because he's really never had that, with the exception of that 1.5, 2 years that he had Randy Moss. So we just need them to be just be middle of the road. They can't be who they have, Demir Bird and N'Keal Harry, the tight end. Skip, can we get more than 5 catches for 55 yards? Can we get that? Can we get, say, like 100 catches between the two, and say maybe 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards? Can we get that between the two tight ends?
Those 2 were drafted by, Bill Belichick.
No. Skip, we made a mistake. Coach Belichick made a mistake in the 3rd round by taking those 2 guys. That's what he did when he went out and got those 2 tight ends. He said, I made a mistake on you too, N'Keal Harry. That's why I had to bring 2 more guys in to replace what you should be doing. But that's neither here nor there. Fill that in, re-signed Kyle Van Noy, brought in Jalen Mills, Jack. Because he likes versatility. You need to be able to play multiple positions on a Coach Belichick team. I believe he brought all that in, repair all the holes that were leaking. He patched those up. Playoffs, meet me in L.A. He calling Brady right now. Brady, that unknown number that you keep calling, you won't answer, that Coach Belichick.
Really?
He said, meet me in L.A.
So you are predicting the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl?
He said, meet me in L.A.
To do what? To play golf?
No, he don't play no golf. Okay. That's your worst nightmare. I think we're going to see y'all in somewhere like October. You'll get a chance to foreshadow.
That's the game at Foxborough.
Yeah.
That won't really matter.
Yeah, it will matter, because it's going to matter for cases, because we got some on it.
Tom Brady is going to be in L.A. in, early February?
Would he have a speaking engagement out here?
No, he's going to be playing at SoFi Stadium. Okay. If we're talking cash splash, then Dollar Bill Belichick has won free agency so far, because nobody has remotely splashed the cash the way Dollar Bill has. There's nothing like it, because most teams are just sitting back waiting to see what the bargain bin holds for them. And because the cap shrank, I think everybody's a little skittish on spending or overspending. So to me, this haul from Coach Belichick has been overhyped and overrated, because he overpaid for quantity over quality. Excuse me. And to me, I still don't see one real impact player. I like Matthew Judon, but is he a difference maker? Is he transcendent? Is he a Charles Haley? No, he's not.
No.
I like Hunter Henry. He's never been to the Pro Bowl. I like Jonnu Smith, but he's never been to a Pro Bowl. Nelson Aguilar. He can run. Occasionally he can run by you, and occasionally he catches it because he drops a whole lot of balls.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Can Matthew Judon, can he beat Mike Vrabel? Can he beat Rob Ninkovich? Because that's what Coach Belichick won a lot of Super Bowls with guys like that.
Maybe. But in the end, is Aguilar really going to make Cam that much better? Is he Curtis Samuel? No. Is he Kenny Golladay? No. I don't know if he's T.Y. Hilton, who's still sitting out there on the market. So to me, Jalen Mills, he's, as Pro Football Focus said, that's the biggest head scratcher. Is he really that guy? Is he going to be a difference maker for your secondary, which is already pretty good?
Well, see, now you understand why he did it, because you mentioned Chung retired. So guess what? Jalen Mills right there at safety.
Okay, and supposedly Stephon Gilmore on the block.
See, I call you
the one guy you paid for, and it paid off, was Stephon Gilmore. But is he going to be a Patriot? I don't know about that.
Probably
Speculation, not.
Probably not. Draft time, he's probably getting moved.
Okay,
Look,
so help me out. Where is the? I get the quantity. I just don't see enough quality that you suddenly turn into a Super Bowl contender.
Skip, on those Super Bowl teams that they won, the 6-1, who was the guy you was like, oh my God, I got to have that guy on my team? They had guys. Ty Law's in the Hall of Fame, but Ty was like in his 5th year, and you had Seymour. With the exception, they had pieces. That's what Coach Belichick. Coach Belichick is a sum of pieces.
You're missing the
Yeah,
obvious.
that's why I say.
Go ahead, Mike.
That's why I say, Skip, it was just really good football players signed, because to Uncle Shay's point, you look at all these teams in the past that they've won championships with, and sorry if I disrespect anybody if I can't recollect right now, but, Grunt was always a standout, superstar player, Hall of Famer. Randy Moss came through for a second, was a superstar player for that New England team. But, the players that's been signed, Judon and Jalen Mills and Hunter Henry, these guys, are just good football players, and that's what they've always been able to, incorporate into their systems, offensively and defensively. Just plug in good players. They understand the scheme. They play good, hard-nosed football on both sides of the ball, and that's kind of what their staple has been for them, and I expect them to do that this year, do it at a high level, because they're going to have more time to spend with each other. They're going to have the OTAs. They're going to have the mini camps, and they're going to have the things that's going to make them gel as a football team and come together, understand the scheme so they can execute. So this is going to be a really good football team this year, and it's going to all, on offense, come down to how Cam handle it, and defensively, we know Bill Belichick can handle his side of the ball. So, it's going to be a beautiful thing to see.
Okay, I give you Belichick can really coach defense.
Yeah.
But he had the ultimate difference maker for all those years at quarterback. He canceled, Tom Brady did. Number 12 in Foxborough canceled all the mistakes that Belichick made in personnel decisions, free agency, drafts. It got canceled because Tom Brady won 6 rings for Bill Belichick with 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. That's hard to top. That's such an ultimate difference maker that you can't exaggerate how valuable Brady was to the outcomes of all these games. So all the Vrabels and the Brewskis, they all looked a little better than they were because they had that guy at quarterback.
Well, Skip, I just think the thing is that you think about it. With, 28 minutes left in the game, the score was 28-3. They win the game 34-28. That's not Tom Brady.
Okay.
Malcolm Butler at the end of the game picking that ball. That's not Tom Brady. Him holding the greatest show on turf that's averaging 17 points below their average. That's not Tom Brady.
Tom Brady threw for 246 yards in the fourth quarter and overtime against the Falcons. That's off the charts.
But what happened, Skip? He threw for 500 yards. When Coach Belichick defense couldn't stop Nick Foles, Tom Brady threw for 500 yards.
And
what
scored
happened?
33 points, and Belichick's defense gave up 41 to Nick Foles.
Exactly. So see what you did here now. When Tom Brady's when the defense doesn't hold, that's Coach Belichick's fault. When the defense does a great job, Tom Brady won the game.
But Shay, the offense got to complement the defense and vice versa.
Yes.
Now, as this team is getting assembled, and those championship teams, they came together and they won games, and Brady, he had comeback performances and some, stellar wins, and the defense did their part. Cam Newton will probably appreciate this. And as he see guys coming in and he see guys going, but he see this team being, built to pretty much make a run, I think the responsibility is going to be on him at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
If he can raise his level of play one more time, one more year, then this team will be very competitive and they can end up making a run at the championship. And that's what this season is all about. So that's what I'm looking forward to with the New England Patriots. You know, they've already, made a splash in free agency and they're doing everything necessary to give every guy every opportunity. So it's no excuses at the end of 2021. And that's why I say it's a beautiful thing to see.
This might be a Skip. While you've been played, I mean, I believe with Tampa, that was the best offensive talent, the most offensive talent that Tom has ever had.
Agreed.
This is the most talent that Cam has ever had. You look at the tight ends, you look at the wide receivers, this is the most talented skill positions he's had. Okay.
Still got the draft around the corner.
No, I don't know. Don't talk about the draft with Coach Belichick, because Coach Belichick been swinging and missing the draft. That's why he got those 2 tight ends, because he swung and missed on the 3rd round, took 2 tight ends in the 3rd round, traded up to get 1. And he took 2 in free agency a year after that. So, we ain't do it. And he took N'Keal Harry 2 years ago with a 1st round pick at wide receiver. We ain't counting on the draft, Mike. We got what we needed in free agency.
As I think about this, just think about real quick, as I think about all these guys who are coming in, I'm thinking about all the guys who are coming back. And that, situation, being able to gel, what that's going to look like.
Okay, I hear you about Cam. There's no doubt that the Patriots just got better. But just remember, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won free agency really before it started by keeping Lavonte and keeping Shaq Barrett and keeping Gronk and keeping Ryan Suckup. They didn't get any worse, and they're the champions. So to me, I don't know how you can underestimate the impact. You did not think they could keep those first 3 names and again, they had to franchise Chris Godwin, but they're all back. And we'll see if they keep AB or Sue or Fournette.
Right.
But they are going to be a powerhouse to be reckoned with, and I don't know how you can underestimate what they just pulled off to keep the band together, as Brady said.
Well, we got better. Y'all didn't get no worse, but we got better.
Yeah, but we're the champ, and you're 7-9.
Oh, it's we now, huh?
Yeah.
You so
I've always been.
What happened to the Cowboys? I thought you was we Cowboys. Now you was we Tampa.
I've been a Brady from day one.
No, you were Tampa. So you all in on Tampa, okay?
In fact, I just got a new Brady jersey.
Did you?
Yeah, last night it came. It arrived.
Oh, you got the Super Bowl insignia.
Yeah, I got that.
He did.
And you're going to see.
Riding it out.
Skip has said from the beginning, Tampa Bay, and now everyone else is saying it. So, I got to give Skip credit for that one. Mike, we appreciate you joining us.
No mercy.
Well, the under-23 men's national soccer team begin their fight for a spot in the Summer Olympics as they take on Costa Rica. CONCACAF men's Olympic qualifying today at 5:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. So before signing Andy Dalton, the Bears reportedly made a, quote, very aggressive pursuit of Russell Wilson, offering Seattle 3 first-round draft picks, 1 third-round pick, and 2 starters, only to be informed by the Seahawks that they weren't trading him. And according to NFL Network, after the Bears made an offer and the Seahawks slept on it, it was Pete Carroll who swooped in and nixed the trade. So, Shannon, there was a lot there that they were willing to trade to give up. What does this tell you?
Well, Russ is even more emboldened now because he's like, oh, okay, you had all that. You said you wanted 3 first-rounders. They offered 3 first-rounders, a third-round pick, and 2 starters. That means you could have gotten Khalil Mack, maybe Akeem Hicks, Skip, 2 Pro Bowl, all-pro players, shore up that terrible defense that we got. Defense gave up 25-plus points in 7 games, allowed 350-plus yards in 7 games, gave up 347th in the 8th game. But Russ is like, okay, now y'all need to listen because y'all still not out of the woods yet. Skip, don't let this look. I look at it like this. As long as the draft hasn't happened yet, I believe Russ is still in play. I don't care what they say. Pete Carroll stepped in and nixed it. Until the draft comes and goes and Russ is still there, then we have something to talk about. But I believe that's the drop. Skip, they say deadline, deadlines get deals done.
Yeah.
Well, the deadline is the draft. And so let's see what happens leading up still, because we're still, a month away from the draft? Let's see what happens then. But if I'm Russ, I feel real good. Hey, they offered y'all all that, so y'all think y'all want to listen to me now? You had 3 first-rounders, 2 starters, and a third. So now maybe you'll take what I'm trying to say serious, because, I still want to get up out of here, truth be told.
Yeah, but Russ lost. He didn't get his way.
He didn't get his way. Skip,
They just said no.
But I'm emboldened. I buck again. I buck again. What? What y'all gonna do?
What y'all gonna do? I'll book
Nothing.
and guess what? I'll book again and trade me what, right? Uh-huh.
I have told you from the start, I will be shocked if they trade Russell Wilson because it's going to cost them $39 million in dead cap money. We just saw Goff go and Wentz go, and it cost both those teams, I forget, it was like $24 million and $36 million dead cap. And they just said, well, enough is enough.
Right.
We got to do this.
Right.
Let's go. Let's just swallow it.
Right.
You could be right about the draft. I know several of the insiders who cover the league are still saying, let's wait on Russell till the draft. And you could be right about Deshaun Watson. Let's wait until the draft to see if something doesn't just detonate around the potential for drafting one of the hot young quarterbacks.
Correct.
Okay. But to me, this was all about a power struggle that became very public between Seattle and Russell. Because
Russ wanted it public.
Okay. And he stepped, to me, completely out of bounds and shocked me and had his agent release a 4-team list of where I would like to go if it ever came to that.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Well, it's such a low blow because Dak looked like he was still in play in Dallas at that point, and Dallas is on the list. And the Raiders are on the list, and they pledged allegiance to Carr, right?
Well, it used to be honor. You remember coaches wouldn't talk about to teams that already had a coach in place.
Yeah.
But then they threw that out the window because we found out coaches was talking about jobs and they had a coach already in place.
Yep.
So I guess that's what agents is doing now, knowing like, oh, okay, I got 4 teams out there my guy would like to go to, even though they have quarterbacks that are in place. I just think the thing is, Skip, is that what Russ wanted, he wanted to be heard. I believe he has Pete Carroll and John Snyder's undivided attention. Because, hey, guess what? Don't think I won't ask again. Don't think I won't buck again. I'll do something that's totally out of character to let you know I'm for real. Because, Skip, this is so off brand for Russell Wilson to do what he did. It let the Seattle Seahawks know, y'all better take me serious. Y'all been taking me for granted. Y'all thought my kindness, thought I was soft, but I got something for you.
I told you all along. The Bears were just paying lip service to this big attempt, this big splash we're going to make. We're going to go after with both feet Russell Wilson, because I think they knew from the start that there's no price that you could pay for Russell Wilson. So I believe they probably went so far as to exaggerate what they were offering just to appease Bears fans because they don't have a plan B except for Andy Dalton.
Well, first of all, it's the Bears' fault they're in this predicament.
It is.
Because you could have had Deshaun Watson and you could have rendered this moot. So it's your own fault.
Or you could have had Patrick Mahomes.
Right. You could have. Skip, I don't think anybody thought that Mahomes was going to be this. We knew. Everybody for most of the year was certain that Deshaun Watson was going to be that. Ryan Pace went this way. And they started with, Trubisky, big, strong, physical guy, got an arm, can cut through that Lake Michigan wind in the Chicago Soldier Field.
Yep.
I get all that. Can he play football, Skip? That's what I need to know. You keep talking about he got a big arm. Can he play? Has he been in big games? What big game was North Carolina in? I can tell you a bunch of them that Clemson was in.
Yep.
2 national title games against Alabama.
Agreed.
That should have told you everything. I ain't see anything. If you didn't see any other games, but just those 2 games, you say, that was the best guy on the field. Of both teams on the field, he was the best.
Yep. So, by the way, Trubisky hasn't been bad. That's what I always say about Andy Dalton. He's not bad.
Right.
Trubisky wasn't bad.
No.
He played in 2 playoff games. One probably should have won. The double doink field goal, right? But is he that guy?
No.
No.
No. So you put yourself in that position that you would have to go out there basically and Skip and just empty the coffers and says, okay, take what you want. Okay. That man really give up Khalil Mack still, I believe, as a top 5 defender. Hicks has been an all-pro.
Yep.
Can you imagine with Hicks and Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright?
Okay, I got it. Did Russell Wilson pretty much crater over the last 11 games last year?
Yeah, he didn't play well.
He did not play well. And he really cratered in the home playoff game against an arch rival within the division. He had a QBR of 17. So he needs to look in the mirror because Russ cooked his own team all too often.
How many quarterbacks would you like to crate and have throw 40 touchdowns with 13 interceptions?
I agree. I would not trade.
Crater for me.
Okay.
If you will give me those kind of production.
the power struggle became very public between these two because then the Seahawks were saying publicly, we're not happy with the way he's handling his business, right?
Yeah. All Russ wanted to do was be heard.
Yep.
Skip, I don't believe Russ maybe wanted to be traded. But he felt you guys wasn't hearing what I'm saying.
Okay. So,
but I'm a
now
buck again.
It's over.
No, it ain't.
Yep.
They know it ain't over till I say it's over. I'm a buck again.
Well, they said no, and you're going to have to live with no.
Well, that's what you say.
No mercy. Oh, guys, Giannis Antetokounmpo was having a good time after he led the Bucs to a big comeback in Philly. He led all scorers with 32 points, 28 of which came in the second half and overtime. And after sealing their best win of the season, he sat down right on the floor to celebrate. Well, the fans inside Wells Fargo Arena made sure to let the Greek Freak hear it, showering him with booze. How about that, Shannon? Did you have a problem with this?
No whatsoever.
Yes,
I ain't got no problem with that.
Yeah.
What you should have a problem with is blowing a 19-point first-half lead. If you don't blow that lead, guess where he's sitting at? On the bench. So fault the 76ers for allowing this to happen on their watch. The man had 4 points in the first half and 28 in the second half in overtime. He did a number. Let him do his number. Skip, all he did was sit down. He was tired, putting foots in him.
You know what? If that had been Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals at Philadelphia, then by all means, you sit and you celebrate on their floor. But this was March 17th, a Wednesday night with no Joel Embiid, no 7-foot monster to guard that rim. It was a super highway to the basket for Giannis, and he took advantage of it on a Wednesday night in March.
How many times we've had this conversation about Joel Embiid taking off March 17th, April 17th? He's going to miss time. You know that, Skip.
And how many times have we had this conversation about Giannis? It's not in March that matters. It's in the postseason, and he always comes up small. And if that had been Game 7, he would have shrunk.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So keep that same energy.
Yep, well,
when PG is doing all these good things, remember how you talking about him?
Subject, yep.
Skip, what the man do? The man was tired. The man was tired.
Yeah, way to go, Giannis. Give me a break.
You a hater.
He wasn't on the ground for that long. There's like a
yeah, exactly. He slipped.
I played hard, and then he was
What was he doing?
Yeah.
That is it for Undisputed. Good stuff today, guys. We're back same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on right now. Don't go anywhere. Have a good day.